In this video, I'll show you how to CAD a robot like the one that's on the screen right now using Fusion 360. So first of all, you should have access folder on Fusion. If you don't have access, let me know. I can add you here so that way you have access to all these CAD files. So right now, the BSmart VEX Robotics folder has all the CAD files. And there's 6 main folders, one for structure, one for motion, hardware, field elements, electronics. And the other one is all the team projects. There's 2 teams that are working on building their chassis on Fusion. And this is just a sample one. And in this video, I'll show you how to do this very quickly so that way you can map out your robot and build it virtually so that you're not going to have any issues when you're actually building it in real world. So first step is to go to hardware. No, not actually hardware. Let's go to structure first. And let's go to steel folder and grab C channel, 2 by C channels. Let's open that folder up and the CAD file is there. So let's go to the 25 hole 2 by 25. So, and also, matter of fact, before you actually start CADing, let's make sure you save the file. So I'm gonna hit Control S on the keyboard, and then I am saving this on 2025 game because you don't want to save your file just anywhere. Make sure you're saving it somewhere that you hopefully on this folder. And I'm going to just call this sample video. Once you save it, you see how it has the name now. So this is the parent component. You see how there's an anchor there. That means that's the parent component. And then let's grab another one, 25, 2 by 25. So I have 2 by 25 like that. And let's make this 90 degrees. You can go here and click 90 degrees. And in order to move it, you just have to highlight it by clicking here first. And then press M on your keyboard so you can actually move it. I want to move it all the way to this side because this will be the left side. And then press OK. And then this one, you see how this one has an anchor? So it doesn't actually let you move it. So you have to go right click here and then click unground from the parent. Now you can select it and then press M on your keyboard. And then now you're able to move it. Let's say 90 degrees, negative 90 on this side. Now what I want to do is I want to join them. This is how you build VEX robots. You're using, for the most part, you're using the join command. So you go into the under assembly, go to joint J, and then I will join. You see how that's the middle hole, right? You see how there's 2 dots? The first dot means it's the center of this face. So I'm gonna join that side with the center dot right there. And then you see how they move together. And then you can separate it. And let's separate it by 17 inches. And why 17 inches? It's because, see, 17. So 17 inches is the chassis width, maximum width for the game, 2025 game is 18 inches. So I'm making sure that the chassis that we're building will not be wider than 17 inches so that we have 1 inch clearance so that we're within the rules. So now that's the chassis. We have one chassis here, the other chassis there. Now we want to build the rails. So how do you build the rails? Same thing. You get another 2 by 25 channel and you dump it there. And then use these arrows to move it. I'm going to move it like this, 90 degrees. You can click 90 degrees. And then I'm going to again go to joint and I will join this side. You see how the middle of that side with the middle of this side. Now, once you do that, you can use this arrow to separate it. I will put this at, actually, I want to make sure that they're not facing like this because that will be it will be a disadvantage because so that way the clearance of the rail should be 2 inches. And if you put it like this, it's not going to be 2 inches. So I want to make sure that I twist it around so that way we have that full 2 inches. Just double check something. So what I will do is I will actually press cancel and I want to turn this the new channel. I'm going to click it first and then press M on the keyboard and I will turn it like this. exactly 180 degrees, so it's facing this way. Now, what I want to do is I want to join them again. So go to Assembly, J, and then now I want to join this first dot with this second dot. Oh, and also when you join, make sure you always pick the line. Since I don't want to move this one because that's the 17 inches, right? I want to move this one. So when you join, right, always click on the one that you want to move first. So I'm going to click this one first. You see component one should be this one that's moving. And then you see component two is the one that's stationary. So like that. And then I'm going to separate using this handle. I'm going to say 2 inches. Also, I just realized that the measurement is in millimeters. So let's change that because VEX does better with inches than millimeters. So I'm going to press. So these two are aligned. And now we have to do the same thing here. So let's come around this way. And let's add another C channel. And move that new C channel. And I will turn it, well, not that way. I will turn it this way. And I will join it again using assembly join. I want to join first, the one that I want to move is this one. I want to move that one to the C. And then I will use this arrow right here and put 2 inches. Now we have basically the chassis done. This is basically the chassis fully done and they're facing the right way here. Now you want to put the motors, and let's start putting the motors into one side. So let's get a motor. Let's go to electronics. Let's look for motor. We want the 11-watt motor. And I will move the motor sideways like that and center. And I want to move this motor. There's enough space to put a couple. We're going to have 3 wheels in here. So that means I want to go somewhere over here. Maybe let's check. I want to get the exact measurement. I think it's like on this. If you count it from this end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to see exactly how many holes. Because if you don't line it up, then you don't have enough space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So after 9 holes. So let's look at from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's like this one. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I wanted to go on this one right here. So let's put it after 5. Oh, let's put it right there. So what I will do is I will say join, and then I'm going to turn around like this. I'm going to join the middle. I'm going to hold this here. Once you hover over the surface, you can click this using the control. You can select the middle of it. And then I'm going to, that's 5. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So roughly about right there. I want it to go like that, but then flip it. So like this. That's good. Press. Now I want to, let's put the low strength, and we could do a high strength. Actually, we should do the low strength shaft. So we know exactly. Oh, let's go for the shaft. Where were the shafts? Oh, here's the shaft. So I want to put the shaft where that joint is, and then I can move it with the other. Actually, what I could do is I can put it, I can make one of this. Let's see, which one is the one that I can make disappear? Not this one. You see, I can make that channel disappear by clicking on the eye. And then I could say join. And then I will join exactly the center point of inside the motor. Right? You see how that center? So I want to join. Actually, I should have selected this part first because that's the part that I'm moving. I'm going to go to join, and then I'm going to select that part first because that's the one that's moving. And then I'm going to select side right there. Press. Now you can turn this back on so you can see how the shaft will go through like that. That makes sense. Now I want to put the, so I'm going to make this robot a little bit faster by putting a driver gear. Remember, the driver gear is the one that should be bigger and the driven gear should be smaller. But before we put a driver gear, we should put a spacer so that way the gear doesn't actually hit that. Unless, I think, actually, let's go to the gears. Let's look at gears that we have. Gears. So let's look at the gears that we have. And let's go with the low strength because those we can get the 62 gear and on low strength. And then what I can do is usually I would put a spacer, but since this gear has that little thing that like a projection, you don't need to put a spacer because that will be like essentially the spacer spinning on there. So I will say assembly, joint, and then I want to joint this. So you see how sometimes it doesn't let you, when you hover like that, now press control, and now it will let you select the dead center. And then I will go here to this surface and hover and press control. And now you see how it lets me select, I think, does it let me select that point? Yeah. And then you see how it's like, it went too much inside, so you can move it. You see how you can move it, and then you're like, oh no, you need to move it more because you see how that's a spacer. So 0.3 is too little, 0.4 is too much. So you can move it to the edge of the plastic. The gear is barely touching the metal. So I'm going to say 0.35. That should be good because if you zoom in, right? Let's do 3.6. Let's do 3.7. Let's do 3.8. I think 3.8, 3.9 is definitely too much because there's a little bit of space. So 3.8 is just right. So you can mess around with that until you have the right. You see how when you join something, you can adjust it a little bit so you can fit it exactly correctly. So if I'm looking from the top, let's just make sure that this is aligned correctly. If I look from the top, you see there's a little bit of space so the gear doesn't hit the C channel. You want to double check before you actually moving on to make sure that everything is good. Otherwise, you have to come back around and do a lot of adjustments. And I don't want to do that. So I think that's good. So this is now what we need the smaller gear to go in here. So we need the smaller gear to go right there and then followed by the rest of it. So let's do that. And then another gear right there. So let's get the smaller gear. Actually, before you do that, let's make sure, let's get the smaller gear. So let's go to gears and let's get the high strength 36 tooth, the round gear. See this one. So I'm dragging and dropping it right there. So what you could do is you can press up. Now you want to get the wheel will go on top of this. No, see, this is the driver gear. This is the driven gear. So driver driven, and the wheel will go on this. So first, let's put the screw for that. So that's under. Let's go to hardware, and then let's look for a screw, and let's go to 832, and then steel, and then go to shoulder screws, and then let's get the RoboSauce. I think the longest one we have is 2 inches, so we can get that one. But the thing is, the 2 inches is not, because the whole thing from here to here is 2 inches. So we actually want to modify this. So I'm going to move this here and then press it. But before we actually make anything with it, I'm going to select the 2-inch RoboSauce screw, and then I will hit press pull. Actually, I will double click to edit, and then it will say capture position. That's fine. And then you go modify and hit press pull, and then select the end of it. And you see now you can put in any distance you want, and I put 2.5 and press. So now this is now no longer 2, now it's 2.5. Now finish edit in place. And then what I want to do is I want to put this, so I want to go to assemble again and joint, and this tip will go into, so not there, because it will be lined up right here. And I think that will go right here. Press, and then you can see how you can pull it all the way in, maybe not all the way, maybe like that. So you can see from this side. Is that accurate? Let's see. That looks accurate. It looks like you can use the arm thing to over here to see, and then maybe twist this a little bit to see. I think you could probably adjust it a little bit because you see there's more space from here to here. So if you want to edit a joint, you can just press double click, and then you can press and maybe move it 0.5. So it's you can see it's screwed in well enough. Now what I want to do is I want to move this thing on top of that. But before I do that, I want to put a spacer, like a tiny spacer, so it will go right here. So let's put a tiny spacer there. Let's go to hardware. Maybe it's not in hardware, maybe it's under motion. Spacers. Let's put maybe, let's go back. Spacers. Maybe 0.250. Might be actually too much. Maybe 0.125. I think that's very small spacer we need right here. So that spacer been over here. You don't need anything bigger than that, the small spacer that you have. So press up. Now I'm going to join that spacer, go to J, press, come around this way, and go to the center of it. You see, this is the center. Hover over the center, and then hit Control to get to the center. And then you can go right here, hit Control, and you can put it right there. Now, you don't want it inside the metal, so you want to make it move it a little bit. Maybe 0.2, is that too much? I think 0.2 is too much, so maybe let's do 1.8, maybe 1.7, maybe 1.6. I think 1.6 is good. It looks like it's right against the metal, which is what you want. And now you can come back around and put this, join this with that. So let's go to assemble, new component, and doesn't matter exactly which side of the gear, but you need to go to this end right here, hit Control, and then move right here. And then you can use this to move it around. And it looks like just the bronze part moved, but when you press enter, the whole thing moved, so you're okay. Let's just double check. And you can see that this joint over here, you can actually edit it more. You can double click on that joint, see this joint right here, and maybe move it, maybe even 14, so it's like right next to it. So now I think you can see how that's right there, and this is right there. So that's good. Now we need to put some screws right here on this gear so it will connect to the actual wheel. So we can do that. We can put, let's go to screws again, hardware and screws. Maybe I can get the 832 steel. What are my options? Shoulder screws, or we could just get hex screws that is maybe 0.625 or maybe 0.725. I think those would be fine to go through to the wheels. So we can get a couple of these 0.725, 0.750. Sometimes it just land the screw in a weird place, but you can fix that. And what you could do is you can make one of these things disappear. You see how you got all of these things? Eventually, I will help you organize it after. Just want to do at least one setup first. So I want to hide, is it this one? No, this one? No, not that one. This one I want to hide so I can actually get to this one. So now you see how I put the eye to hide that one. And then let's join the top of this with maybe this one. And then you can pull it like that. Just want to see if it's good enough over here. It looks like maybe that might be a little too much. So maybe we can make it maybe 0.35. Let's see. Oh, that's going the other way. So maybe let's do 0.225. That's good. So, okay, I did one screw there. And then let's click the 9 dots over here to get the, so it was, which screw did we use? We used the 0.75, right? We're using 0.75, yeah. So I'm gonna grab another one. And then I'll do the same exact thing. I'm going to twist it like this and press OK. And I'm going to join it again with J over here. And I'm going to select the end. And then I'm going to select this end and then move it I think it was 0.25. Press enter. Now, the reason I did that is now because that will get screwed into the wheels. So that's why I hide the other channel. Now let's go to the motion part, the wheels. We want to put the wheels, the Omni wheels. I think 3.25 inches is fine. I think we have the legacy ones. I think we also have the wheels. I think we have the Omni wheels, but 3.25, maybe anti-static ones. Yeah, I think this is the one that we have, but I want the one with the round insert because the screw is fixed. The wheel will spin on the screw, so I want the round insert, and then I will put it right here. And what I want to do is I want to align it with, so I'm gonna say here, and I'm gonna join. So go to J again, and I want to join I'm gonna press Control to get to the middle, and I want it joined to this part, and then press OK. And then what I'll do is obviously I will have to move it by a lot. So let's see how much. So I'm going to click on this joint right here, double click on it, and then move it all the way right there. Maybe 3.5. 6, let's see, 6, because we want it right. I think that's good. So ideally, the screw would come off a little bit, but I don't see that screw coming off. So maybe we may have to go back and change the screw. I think we should do this screw. I think we should change it to something bigger than the 0.75. I think maybe it might have to be a whole inch. So let me go back because otherwise it looks like there's no screw. So I'm going to go back. This is why it's so good to CAD something. Then you'll know exactly what length you need. So go to motion, not motion, maybe under hardware and screws. Let's pick 832 and then steel, regular hex screw. But we will put 1-inch ones. Actually, before I select, you see how there's not screw, so I have to go one more back. So I want to get the 1-inch screw, and you see how 0.74 doesn't really help. So I want to actually let me go back. Now I don't have. I'm gonna delete this one, and then I selected this one off. Which one was it? This one. And then I will get the 1-inch screw here. And then I will turn it around. That's okay. And what I want to do is I want to assemble, join. I want to join the tip of that with basically this end. And then I will pull it all the way. That problem is you can't really see exactly how much of the screw is in there. So I'm going to say maybe 0.8. Let's say 1 inch. I'm going to say okay for now. But only way I could see is if I can go around this way. When you look at it, you can see that it should be more because right now it looks like the screw is right here. So I'm going to select that and put, it should be furthermore in like that. Maybe 1 point, let's say 1.2. That's too much. 1.5, that's too much, I think. 1.7, 1.8. Oh, that's definitely too much. 1.4. I think that's good. Maybe 1.3. I think that's good. So it'll be sticking out like that. So I want to get the same exact screw again, and I want to put it again through the, let's turn it around. I'm going to assemble, press J. This one should be Control. Or what did I just press? So press Control. I think what I need to do, that's not good because it's really not in the center. Say cancel because it did not get moved correctly. So joint, I just want it right there. I'm pressing Control. Now it looks like it's in the center. Don't want to pull it too much. Let's see from the side. Maybe twist it around like this. Let's press OK for now, but we may have to change that. Let me just see how it looks. What I could do is I could hide this for a second so I could get a hold of how it's supposed to look. Where is it at? It's probably, Okay, see how the bottom side is not good. So I'm going to double click on that and change that because that should be like that. I think that's good. Right, so now, I know it's kind of confusing now, but let's go back and let's put on that channel. So it should look like that. And now we need to get the wheel. Where is the motion wheel? So we want the Omni anti-static with the round insert, round sound insert. That one. I didn't mean to double click, but I did. And you just have to grab it and move it. So now it's over here. Now what I want to do is I want to align this. So go to assemble, put J and put that end. And I want to put it right there. Press OK. And then once you do that, see that last one? Double click. And then what you want to do is you want to adjust it. You see how you can adjust it so that it goes all the way through like that. Maybe 1.3.5. That's good enough. So when you do that, you can see, actually I put the wrong kind of wheels because these ones have different holes and that's why the screws don't actually fit them. So it's the wrong kind of wheels. Let's go back. You see, that's not the wheels that we want. Let's go all the way back to, I think we have the legacy ones, 3.25. I think we have the legacy ones. Those are the ones that we have. It's slightly different. No, this is the one that we have. So let's go align it again. So let's go to assemble, J, and we want that right there. Press OK. Would it just, I think it didn't. Let's go back. So let's go to joint, this one. Press OK. I think let's actually just look for round. Let's look for the other one because it just separates when I try to move it. So I'm gonna use this one and press assemble, joint, say that one, select, and press it separated. So I guess we can join. The thing about join command is that you can only move one thing at a time. So what I could do is I can press on this, double click, and then make sure I move it all the way next to this one. Press OK. And then what I could do in separate motion, separate join for this. Select, I want to select, hit Control to get to the middle. And I want it right here. Press OK. Now I think you can push it a little bit further back. So I can double click on that joint. No, it looks good. I think it's, and you can see how this is aligned. And so this is going through. Ideally, this screw would have been certain things you cannot control because that gear in real world, you would put a screw through, right? And it would go right through. So what I could do, I could probably move this right there, but that's another thing. You see how, because it would be too much to fix at this point. So I'm not going to worry too much about that, but that there's a screw holding it. And from the top, it looks like everything else looks good. So I think this is good. And now I can put this other side back. So pretty much you're good to go. Wait a minute, is there anything else missing? Just want to make sure that this is not making contact over here. The wheel does not make contact with that gear. And if you look this way, it doesn't look like it makes contact in there. So you're fine. So now we need to organize this so that way we can do another one right in the middle. So what I could do is I could put a screw right there and maybe a shaft right there so it doesn't move, and then screw over here and then call it a day. Actually, before I do that, I think I should, let's do that first. Let's put a shaft in there so it doesn't move, and then another shaft. We should actually put on this one, so there's nothing holding this. So we should put a shaft color right there, and let's do that first. So I'm going to make this one disappear again. Let's put a shaft color in there. So let's go over here. shaft color there. So I'm going to joint this one with, and then once it's in there, I can move it all the way. That's good. And then I can do the same thing here. And I can say joint this side with this. Oh no, that did not work. Cancel, go back. I want to join this side, hit control, this side, and then move it all the way. That's good. Now, so they're not gonna move. Now I should do, since on this side, you see how this drive shaft, if it's just sitting over here, it's gonna create a lot of friction. This screw, on the other hand, it's fixed, so it doesn't really create friction. The wheel is spinning on the fixed screw, so that's not a problem. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's something to reduce the friction, because it's a square shaft spinning on a square metal. So we need to put actual bearing flat there. So let's do that first. What I want to do is I want to turn off everything in here. So except for the, see, I want to turn this off. I want to turn that off. I want to turn this stuff off. I want to turn all of this off. I want to even turn that one off. And even the motor, I don't need to see. And even this one, I don't want to see. And I just want to put a shaft collar, a bit like a bearing flat right there. So let's do that. Let's go for motion, bearing flat, bearing. And let's put this one. It's that one. So I wanna, that's good. I want to put this bearing flat right here. So that way it's less friction. And then what I could do is I can put a nylon knot. Let's go to nylon. I want to put, I'm going to put a knot there. So I'm going to go to assembly, J, bring it out like that. And then put a screw in there. See, the good thing about this bearing flat is that this, like a rubber insert, also align things. So now I can just put a small, let's say hardware screws. We could put a small 832 steel Jones screw. You can put a 0.5 in here, and I could just join this one and then pull it out. So I didn't do the correct thing here. Joint J again here to, by saying that it will not fit in the nut that I put there. So I'm not going to do this because you know how to, if you're building, that's not going to kill you. So I'm not going to actually do that part. I'm going to skip that, but at least I'm showing you that there is a bearing that needs to be there. I think that's good enough. I'm not going to put a nut in there. It's too much. Now I can put everything back. So basically that one wheel assembly, I know it took a while, but you see it's done. And then you can probably put some kind of, well, we could put a nylon knot right there. Maybe I'll put that one because that's important. Most of the stuff that we're doing is just to show you how the spacing. There's other extra stuff that you could do, but you don't really have to go too crazy about it. This is just more about the structure only. So if you really want, you could put a, let's go to hardware nuts, and you could probably put a nylon nut, like a thin one. You could put one in here, and you can go to join this one and then turn around and put this one, and then just put it like that. I think that's good enough. That's that. So that is done. Now is the part where, you see how when you look at the browser, the list of things is just too much. So we should clean this up by creating a component. So I'm going to turn off the origins over here, so I don't want to see that. So let's see, all of this. So I'm going to call two different things. I'm going to create wheel assembly or wheel mount and then motor mount. So I'm going to create two different, so go to sample video, like the parent folder, and then create a new component. Let's call this motor mount. And what I want to do is I want to put everything that has to do with the motor in there. So that shaft, I'm going to drag it and put it in the motor mount. The V5 motor, that goes in there. The that is also part of the mortar. So I'm gonna drag it and put it in there. That one is now part of this. So that's so I'm going to create another one called new component called wheel mount. And I'm going to put, you see, this part is part of the wheel mount. So I'm going to put that in there. This screw is part of that. You see, it highlights which part we're talking about. So we can organize it. That's part of that. This is part of that. This is also part of that. That's part of the wheel mount, part of the mortar mount. That's part of the mortar mount. What is that? That one is just an extra. And so that one you can just ignore because that's not actually a part of anything. So I'm gonna just delete that one. What's this part right here? That's part of the wheel mount. So I'm gonna put it. See, now it's more organized. Also, another good thing about that is now let's say I want to put another wheel, right? All I have to do is make sure I'm on the parent, right? Make sure you select the parent. And if I want to just create another wheel right here, all you have to do is go to wheel mount, Control C, Control V. And now I have another wheel. So I can move that in place right there and actually align that whole thing so that everything is good to go. It's okay. So all I have to do is align this thing so that this is connected. So I'm going to align this one. It has to be aligned like this part right here. Let's put assembly joint, and you can select that part and then bring that over to where it need to go. It need to go right there. Actually, what I could do is I can move the whole thing. Wheel mount 2. Press M and I could put it right in there. So now you can see how that one is a perfect fit for this one. So basically now you have, and then once you do that, and you let's say do a copy of the mortar mount, you could say Control V, and then you have extra mortar mount that you could put it in the right spot. And then I'm just going to move it into the right spot right there and press on. And finally, we just have to do one more and then we're done with the whole left rail. And then you do the same thing for the other side to complete the chassis. So let's take another wheel mount because we're missing a wheel mount. I'm going to say Control V, capture position, and I will move it to the right spot. There you go. You have built up the front and you're good to go. And you can just see. So the whole, look at this now. You see, once you do one group correctly, now the whole side is done. So I'm going to end the video here. I think you get the idea of how to do it now. And you can do the rest. And so that way your team is prepared for any issues later on. Control S. I'm saving it and it's in there. All right. Good luck.